the 7th right now. Cool. So let's go ahead and move on to... You going to 307, or are you going to make the jump all the way to 308?
307.
Okay, 307 it is. Somewhere we have not been yet. Cool. So you guys jump over to 307. I'm just going to try and make a different sound every time.
Yay.
So when you arrive at 307, it is a tech level 2 planet. It's 19th century technology as well. So there is not a whole lot of chatter from here, but you do receive like a couple of things, and this tech level 2 planet is actually connected to everyone. It doesn't they're tech level 2 by choice, not necessarily by like force. And let me just make sure. Yeah. They're tech level 2 by like choice. It's like it's typically like a planet like you don't hear a whole lot about it. It doesn't have anything significant on it. But yeah, no, they know about spacefaring folk, right? Like, it's not like 104 where they didn't know, like they're unaware, or at least mostly unaware, that there are spacefarers out there. This planet is at least in the knowledgeable realm.
They're not black powder like the other one.
Well, I mean, they are. They're like Renaissance.
Oh.
They're like 19th century Renaissance age technology.
They know.
But they're aware of the existence of spacefaring people, right?
Cool.
Their society is just chosen to maybe get advancements on their own, or maybe they're untrustworthy of these spacefaring folk and they just want to do things by themselves. That kind of stuff. Kind of like how, advanced aliens look at us, probably.
Probably.
So, like, communication with them is not impossible, but for you guys, just some random trader group, I mean, this is a diplomatic thing, not necessarily another thing. And, like, they also have millions of inhabitants, so it's actually one of the most populated planets in the entire sector. Not a lot of sectors actually have millions of inhabitants, or not a lot of systems actually have millions of inhabitants on them. So if they were to be, like, weaponized, they would definitely have a numbers advantage over a lot of other people. But yeah, no, it's typically a very nondescript, kind of boring planet. It's also got a corrosive atmosphere, so...
Right, boring in the description.
So,
Yeah.
Corrosive, no tech for Oscar to buy.
No.
I think we move on.
Yeah, absolutely. And then so you only have the one more jump to 308, back home. Which is going to require another 7. Yeah, nailed it.
Oh, man.
Jeez.
Cool. So
We did it,
arrived.
Reddit.
Congratulations. Yeah, we did it.
Margot's
We did it,
like,
Reddit.
doing barrel rolls and shit. Just
Yeah.
like, we're all hanging on for dear life.
Yeah, it's fine.
Somehow we make it.
So it's been like 3 weeks again since you guys traveled. It took you a week to get to the Barba, but then basically 2 weeks to get to where you're at currently. So what is everyone doing while you're on the ship during this time?
I know Boomer is using
working
this
out.
time.
Yeah, Boomer's using the time to what?
He's working on his third goal.
Okay, yeah, you're making designs. You can't make a whole lot of headway, unfortunately, because you don't have like access to materials, or access to like a workshop, like an actual workshop, which will probably be required in order to actually do this. But if you were doing like the thinking part of this with like the how do I actually make this stuff work, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right now it's all like tech diagrams.
It's all
and
theory,
whatnot.
right? None of it has actually
Yeah.
been trying to put into practice. Yeah, makes sense.
Right.
Cool. What's everybody else doing during the 2 weeks, basically?
I think Oscar is probably like half training his new pet
Sure.
and half trying to research, insofar as he is able, trying to research Red 5, which for him probably means looking up contacts and not actually trying to research the material, but trying to trying to figure out who he could seek out to help him.
Right, absolutely. So I think that there's some interesting happenstances with with your little pet. Probably like about, you probably notice in the jump between 105 and 206 when after you leave the Barba Society, that the pet, like, it's been about a week, a little over a week. It appears extremely, like, the first couple of days, you probably notice it like attempting to escape and like expending energy trying to figure out what was going on, and clearly like in a very almost stressed out manner. And then it progresses into it appears to be you can probably tell this at a look because you have a little bit at least of knowledge of alien physiology. I think everybody does at this point. And you can tell that what the hell was that?
Sorry.
It appears that that it is at like it appears to be its core body functions appear to be slowing down. It appears to be much more sedentary. Its container that you have it in is currently like it just sits in the bottom of it. There are fewer and fewer attempts to like actually move around. It's still alive, obviously, but it's doing that thing that dogs do, maybe when they're like sick or something, where it just kind of lays down a lot and sleeps a lot.
You have a depressed bug.
It's very possible. Well, no one on the ship, save for Giorgio, has any medical experience.
It's true.
Let alone, does Giorgio have any veterinary ability?
I think that would be a conversation, probably.
Yeah.
But Giorgio is specifically
Oscar,
designed for this crew, right? Like, he's designed to be the kind of all-around. And they probably would not have hired they probably would not have assigned an alien to the ship if Giorgio at least didn't say, yeah, I can totally take care of an alien if the need arises. So yeah, it's pretty good to bet that Giorgio might be your best option.
That conversation would definitely happen.
Sure, yeah.
So I think Oscar would go seek out Giorgio at some point once he's like,
in the med bay,
this thing appears to be continuing to decline. So you'd probably, walk up to him and be like, I would like it if you could take a look at the creature that I acquired.
So yeah, I think that he looks at you and he says, "Creature? What do you mean?"
You've not seen it yet.
He looks around and he's like, I mean, mostly I'm just in the lab if it's not my turn to be on shift. You guys come to me with things.
And here I am.
So do you have like the barrel like back under your arm? Like,
yeah, let's say I've got
sure
the barrel.
Yeah.
I put it on the.
I think his eyes like go to the barrel and then like they widen as he's like slowly realizing like what you're talking about, and he's like, what is that?
Well, for one, it is not well. That is one thing that it is. Beyond that, I'm not certain.
So yeah, I think
he just Oscar. I mean, if it's like pretty flaccid, like if it's not really doing much of anything these days.
Yeah, I think
Oscar
you've
would
been
just
able
kind
to
of
like handle it by this time. Like it hasn't been like it's given up hopes at attacking you recently.
Sure, or maybe it at least knows that I am not food, and neither do I want to harm it directly.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I think I just kind of like pour it onto the table. Wherever.
Yeah, you just like slide it out of the barrel and it just
kind of like shake it out.
Yeah.
You know.
And you see Giorgio like he does the thing where like he grabs his chest and like he grabs the like his lab coat like a little bit as he looks at it, and he's like, when did you get this thing?
It was one that was not exterminated during our mission to collect the Red Five.
He wipes his brow and he's like, well, I certainly don't know what it is, but I guess I could have a look. I mean, but, and then he goes, wait, was this on the ship when Barba was here?
You're a smart man, Giorgio.
So he goes, well, we all dodged a jail sentence. Congratulations. I would appreciate it, though, if maybe in the future, before we travel into somewhat hostile territory, I'm aware of any and all creatures aboard the ship. That would be appreciated. But no harm, no foul. I'll see what we can do about getting this. And he kind of he picks it up by the tail, and he's looking at it. He's officialized. But I guess I'll take a look at it. And so he kind of pulls out what would be he pulls out his bioscanner, right? Because he has a bioscanner. He opens a drawer and he pulls it out. And he kind of clears the desk around the thing, and he starts scanning the thing. And he goes after a few tense minutes. How is Oscar feeling at this moment? Is he oh no, my pet, or is it kind of I wonder why this thing isn't doing what it's supposed to?
It's probably
how
somewhere
to this
in
thing
between,
are you, right?
So I think where Oscar's mind is at here is that he's curious about this thing, and he cares enough that if Giorgio can't fix it, he's gonna cut its head off.
Sure, yeah, to end its misery.
He doesn't want to keep a thing slowly dying in a barrel in his room. That's probably the extent to which.
Sure,
yeah.
yeah.
It's a curiosity, and he was having fun playing with it, but he doesn't want to torture the thing.
Right. So yeah, I think after a few minutes of scanning, Giorgio plugs it into his data slab, and he opens it up, and it's running. You see a bunch of data just flying across the screen, and if you don't have tech medical, you probably don't know what any of this shit is. But you see Giorgio nodding his head as he reads, and he pulls certain things out and swipes them to the side to look at later or whatever. Then he deletes some things.
Yeah.
And while he's doing this, he's asking you questions. He's so you said you found this on the rock, huh? Well, I'm surprised it's not trying to kill us, since Eurymedon is known for its hostile biosphere, which I assume this is one of, and he kind of looks at the thing again, and he's swiping away at his data pad.
Perhaps one of the last.
He does that nervous laugh thing that he does. He's like, ha, ha, yeah, genocide. It's funny. And he looks, and he's like, huh. Well, I mean, I don't know much. It identifies a couple of different signatures that are with some other creatures that I know of, but what's its diet?
I've been trying to determine that myself.
He's
Other than people, it is not clear to me what they eat.
He's he looks at it, and he kind of looks at you, and he looks at it, and he goes, I don't think it's a flesh eater. I think that perhaps defensively, yes, but I don't think it's a carnivore. It doesn't have any of the hunting instincts. And he kind of he's flipping through again. He goes, no, it's strange. There's no trace of any sustenance in any of its digestive tract. What have you been trying to feed it?
Well, the rations on our ship are not terribly diverse, so...
He laughs, and he's like, ha, yeah, I know, trust me. Well...
It's lucky enough I have anything to eat, let alone...
It seems like, and this is... I won't even call it a professional opinion, because I've never seen one of these things before, but it seems like maybe we should try and figure out what it eats, and particularly if you haven't been feeding it well since and he kind of like looks at his like chronometer or whatever the hell he has on his arm for time,
Yes,
and he's like,
since its acquisition, yes.
He's like, yeah, I think that probably it'll die soon if we don't find it whatever it eats, and give it some of that. And then he goes on to say, he's like, so you said you encountered these creatures. What was their habitat like? What could they have possibly have fed upon while they were living on this rock?
Possible that they feed on the rock itself. There were elaborate systems of tunnels.
Yeah, Giorgio like kind of nods. He's like, huh, yeah, no, it would make sense.
In
you
which
see here,
case,
and like he shows you, like he brings up like an image, like the bioscanner took like an image of like the front like mandibles are clearly for like moving stuff out of the way, but like the inner mouth area, he's like, you see this? And he's like pointing at like some mucus glands on the thing. He's like, it's for dissolving something. It's got a very high acidic quality. Not to the degree of like being dangerous to humans, but over time I think it's designed to dissolve something else. Perhaps you're correct. It's much like a spider's, or he wouldn't say spider because spiders don't really exist, but he would say the space equivalent of a spider. He would say it's much like that. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, and maybe he says like so here's a question, Oscar. What's like a native insect that like would be the equivalent to like an ape on Earth, like that is basically like Syriac but not really, like semi-intelligent?
Oh god, I mean there are probably some pretty freaky little, like not quite, I mean,
right,
there would probably be like a macaque equivalent, like little teeny Syriac like hominid. Probably very upsetting to off-worlders to see them, but
right. So he mentions insert that alien here, insert macaque like alien here, and he says he's like, yeah, it's kind of like their acid dissolves the prey, or in this case, like I said, this thing is not very fast. I don't think it's a hunter, but it's used to dissolve some type of material.
Well, the likelihood is not good that we will turn up any of what that is on our ship, is it?
He kind of like shrugs.
Eats Red 5, I suspect we will not be able to spare enough to keep it alive.
Yeah, Giorgio kind of like shrugs and he's like, I don't know what to tell you. That's the best I got. And he kind of like looks and he's like, he thinks like it's clear that he's like, maybe I've just given him news that his pet is going to die. So he kind of does the whole like, if you need a moment, I can step out.
This is of no concern. And I think he scoops it up and walks off.
Okay. Yeah, you slam it back in its barrel.
Well, no. I think he like makes a show of being like, well, que sera, and then he
sure,
he puts it back in the barrel and nods it Giorgio and says, well, if that is the case, and then he walks off.
Sure. Yeah, cool.
In the meantime, he takes, he probably, out of maybe curiosity more than anything, would go to where they had the extra Red 5.
Sure.
They had a
you guys have a stash.
Like, he would probably take a couple of like flakes of it.
Sure.
And just bring that back to his room.
Sure, yeah.
Like throw a couple in the barrel and go about his day.
Okay, yeah. Excellent. So what does everyone else do? What, Gogo, what are you doing besides navigating your happy little butt off?
She probably would have taken a nap.
Yeah.
But no, after that,
Is
I
that
feel...
what the 7 was?
Yeah, because she can get a 7 even while asleep.
Right,
but,
she rolled 2 7s, actually, so...
2 naps.
Yeah. I think in between getting us where we needed to go, So she'd be kind of researching the best she can on her data pad. Well, I feel like first she would have tried to research their new crew member the best she can by, and you probably see this, right? This happens. So she's like typing into Google, trying to spell his name the way she thinks it's spelled, and then just continually backspacing and then just putting in Oscar and then some description after it and hitting enter and see if anything comes up, which most likely it doesn't.
I'm like, not to shoot this down, but Oscar totally was something that was cooked up for the benefit of this specific crew. So that would be a total dead end.
Right. No, I know. I'm doing it as a joke. Yeah, I'm doing it as a joke. I'm not actually trying to find information that way. But Margot would totally try that.
I think that you type in Oscar and like the search engine, all it spits back is like Oscar Berkowitz, famous, politician at insert X location here.
He has gone by other call signs, but not Oscar.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, I was just trying to do that.
So
and then Margot would be like, wolf. And then she would start looking up prices of rocket launchers and comparing them to get the best one.
Sure, you're looking up like different makes and models
user
and
reviews.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yep, and like comparing them side by side and, doing her research.
Looking at the Newegg user reviews, I got it.
Yep, exactly. That's what she's spending her spare time doing.
Because Amazon actually died out because they were too reliant on technology, and so actually no, it's
all
not
those drone deliveries.
It's not Newegg. It's actually Tiger Direct, because Tiger Direct, I don't know if you guys knew this, actually has brick and mortar stores. I didn't know this until recently.
Really?
I have been to one.
I didn't know until one closed in my area actually, and they sold their whole stock at like 50% off. It was a really good deal.
Yeah, I went to one when I was in California once, and it was magical.
Yeah, so it's probably like Tiger Directs, like, because they actually had brick and mortar stores that were able to survive. So you're looking up reviews. Missile launchers are expensive, but also like carrying around a bunch of ammunition for them's like pretty weighty and like encumbrance heavy. But yeah, no, I think that what you find, Go-Go, is that obtaining one like through legal means is probably like a long process, right? Like depending on which government you go to. I think that for you obtaining like a rocket launcher at like going on the street and buying one is going to take a certain planet, if you get like catch my drift, a planet that doesn't really abide by like typical like gun safety laws, like because people don't just sell people rocket launchers in the real world. So yeah.
Alrighty then.
Cool. What about Boomer besides making hooch?
Besides making hooch, actually, ironically, before she would actually start looking on Amazon, if I knew we were going back to Sojourn, I would actually reach out to my contacts and see what the availability of a rocket launcher is.
Sure, yeah.
Yes.
You definitely know you're going back to Soren, right? That's where you have to make your delivery. And yeah, I think that obtaining a rocket launcher is around the same price, like typically, but it's all a matter of who you're getting it from and how you're getting it, right? Like price isn't really like the talking point. They all cost about the same, but if you're getting it from a somewhat irreputable dealer, you have the potential that either somebody questions that or that the craftsmanship is shoddy, right? Like, if you buy it from some shady dude on the street, it might just fucking blow up in your hands.
You don't want to wind up made into like a GIF that people look at to laugh at. And...
Right, yeah, exactly.
Right, but I imagine with like Boomer's know-how and his contacts, he might be able to find something that's more than just functional.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I think you can definitely find one that is not going to blow up in Go-Go's hands, for sure.
Much appreciated.
But again, it's going to cost money, and then you have to either go pick it up or get it shipped to a location and then pick it up whenever it gets there. So...
Free 2-day shipping.
Yeah, free 2-week shipping, because that's how long it takes fucking get stuff across sector in this game.
Right.
That's how
Sure.
long it takes to get a message across the sector,
exactly.
let alone a physical item.
Exactly. Yeah, messages can be a little bit quicker because there are quite a few Spike 2 and some even like some of the more advanced ships Spike 3 drives in the system. But yeah, no, for sure, definitely. Those ships as well. Those ships as well are typically like excluded from the exchange network, mainly because if somebody's traveling in a Spike 3 ship, they're either very, very rich or don't want to be found. So, but yeah, cool. What about Fortune?
Drinking hooch, working out.
Sure, yeah.
At the same time.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Finish a rep, take a sip. Finish a rep, take a sip.
Awesome. Cool. So, you guys arrive finally after your long extended journey in Sorn. Or in System 308, which contains Sorn. It is the Najaya system. So you arrive and you guys see that noticeable. You get that noticeable like back home feeling because you guys have all like been based out of here for quite a while, and you get there and Giorgio is like on the bridge when you guys arrive in the system, and he probably says to you, Go. He probably like gives you like a nod of approval and says, "Great job, another safe trip."
As always, she gives him like a questioning look, like he was ever thinking otherwise.
Right. He kind of looks at you and he goes, "Perhaps you're forgetting like 2 jobs back, but never mind."
John.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't about my driving.
We had to replace the landing gear.
I think you're exaggerating. Let's move on.
No, we physically had to replace the landing gear.
Giorgio, just ignore. It's fine. No,
it came
no,
out of your pay.
It was
Don't you
fine. It was
remember?
just no.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about. We're good.
Okay. All right. So yeah, he just kind of like chuckles and he you can see him like he's got his data slab and he opens it up as typical in his little like knapsack. It just opens up and opens up his data slab and just typing away because it's the first time he's been back in like a month and almost a half now. So he's got like a lot of work to catch up on. So those of you that have been on this mission before, and I don't know if you've been on any other Westwind missions, but you know that like once you guys arrive and dock, there's probably like a day waiting period, and then you guys like the money just gets automatically transferred into your account, and you guys all get an email from whoever your handler is saying like, "Here's your money," and it gives you like a breakdown of like deductions and stuff like that. So it's gonna take you guys like maybe like a day to like get there and dock, and then another day to get your money, and then essentially you guys are just waiting for a mission. But during that downtime, you don't necessarily have to take that mission. You guys can totally go do whatever you damn well please in between then and now. And even Giorgio may even come with like, if you guys say, hey, can we hold off on a mission for like, a month or so? He'll be like, yeah, we want to go make a trip somewhere. That's totally cool too. Because the Westwind, again, pays you by the jobs that you do. If you guys don't do any jobs, they don't have to pay you. You're not on salary. And Giorgio doesn't mind because he's on salary and he gets paid no matter what. In fact, he'd probably go like handle another crew during a period of time.
How much are we wired for the mission that we just completed?
That will depend. Let's see here. So,
and
let's
also,
see what your deductions
did
are.
we get officially paid for doing the kind of a side mission?
Yeah, the 1,500
for...
credits. Yeah.
Yeah.
That got he handed it to Fortune when Fortune went in there to collect.
Did Fortune ever split that
Right, yeah,
up
that's
for
so that's the real question, right?
Or is this
Fortune,
this
did
a
you ever split the
conversation
money
that Oscar
between the
has
four
with
of you?
him?
Yeah, it's been split.
Okay.
I don't like that pause.
Right. Yeah. This is your business guy, by the way.
Well, I was debating on whether I deserved a larger cut or not for procuring said business, but I decided not to.
All right. So let's look at the Apollo 254 here.
So everyone gets a fourth share of 1,500.
375.
Yeah, that much. However that much is. So the ship will have to undergo maintenance, which is fine. It's no big deal. Because that doesn't come. The maintenance cost doesn't come out of your cut. That's part of the bonus of not owning the ship, right? But the operating cost certainly does. So that is gonna be 600 for each of you. Not Giorgio though, so you're not getting that taken out of. And then refueling is typically 400 per, but you guys get like a per diem, like however much fuel like they think you'll use during the course of the journey. And so I think you guys only went over that by a couple. So let's see what we got here. So the original cut was 60, and you guys get 10% of that, minus the deductions. Divided by... Oh, not divided by 6. What's wrong with me? There's not 6 of you in the crew.
There are not.
Divided by... 4. There's 4 of you in the crew. Alright, cool. So everybody gets 600 credits from that job. Now,
Cool.
You might say 600 credits is not a whole lot, but I will remind you that you basically had free room and board for a month and a half. Like,
Yep.
so.
And food.
Right, yeah. You were provided with that. The deductions came out of, because you took the safer route on the way back, they took a little bit out because there was extra refueling that was not covered by your per diem. And you guys don't have to pay maintenance costs. Like, because think about it, like, if you guys had to pay maintenance costs as well, that's another, you guys actually would have been in the negative, because that's another 8,167 credits per month of maintenance. Yeah.
Yay for working for the man.
That's, yep, but that's the bonus you get. So, you know, it's advantageous to not own your own ship. But if you own your own ship, then you could have sold, you know, maybe sold it to Westwind for a lot more, but you're also paying a lot more in refueling costs and in maintenance. So your margin is probably a little bit higher, but you also probably have like a ship payment, and you also probably have like other problems going on. So yeah, so we can cut to, you guys have 600 credits. You're on a TL4 world. It's owned by the Westwind Corporation, and you have the ability to basically buy a whole lot of things. Soren is a baseline post-tech planet. You could basically buy most anything here, including, if you had enough, you could go into buying the things that you want to buy. Now, I know that there are a couple people who have goals to buy a certain thing. Boomer, you would not be able to find a pre-tech toolkit here. Mostly because pre-tech doesn't exist on this particular planet, right? So they don't carry equipment to work on pre-tech equipment. In order for you to find pre-tech equipment, you'd probably have to go to a non-baseline post-tech planet, some planet that doesn't have baseline, some planet that's maybe a little bit more advanced, because there are no actual TL5 planets in the sector. But when we're talking pre-tech here in this sense, it's going to be, you need to look for somebody or something or some person that has higher than baseline level stuff that they have to work on, because they're going to have the ability to produce pre-tech toolkit. But Astronautics toolkit, totally good. You could totally find that here, no problem. Sorry.
I do not have nearly enough money to buy what I want.
Yeah.
So
Same.
I think,
Same.
though, that while we're on this planet, Oscar would want to snoop around for someone that might be able to, for someone that might have knowledge of how to work with Red 5. So probably,
Yeah,
and
this is a
I'm
good
gonna
planet to do it.
lawyer this. I'm gonna lawyer this a little bit, since Red 5 is typically used in components for spacecraft.
Mm-hmm.
That his culture spacer ability skill would probably lead him to someone who is in like fabrication
Sure.
that would have a knowledge of.
I think that finding someone who works with Red 5 is not the problem here. I think the problem is finding someone who either A, has the time to do a custom job, or B,
Sure.
has the ability to do a custom job.
I mean,
So I
time
think
is
that
money,
you're,
and
I
money
think that I
is
agree.
time.
I'll give you your culture spacer role, and it's probably.
He's not expecting someone to do
I
this
will
out
let-
of the goodness of their heart.
I will let
He is-
you choose wisdom or charisma, whether or not you think like you observe somebody that that does a good job and you approach them, or if you try to charm
Sure.
somebody. You can use either, but it is a culture spacer role. You'll be able to find somebody, no problem. That's not an issue. It's just what the level of work they're able to complete and how fast, and if they're even able to do to do this in a manner in which you please. Okay. A 7's okay. It's a basic success. So you probably find like a group, and they probably say like. In fact, it's probably like a situation where like maybe you catch them by the water cooler because you work for Westwind too, so you're allowed like on the premises, right? So you catch like maybe a couple engineers by like a water cooler, and you explain what you want, and they say to you, oh well, that's a unique request. We're used to working with things much larger, but we might be able to drop some plans. And they probably mention to you, they probably say, well, I don't think that that'd be a great weapon. Perhaps, maybe a rifle
so Oscar,
or something. But they go, it's just. And they look at you and they're like, it wouldn't be a good blade, I don't think. It doesn't have the weight to bring a lot to bear.
Yeah. So Oscar has been thinking about this, and he suggests that is this maybe the sort of material that is used in like coatings of any sort? Like, can they do they do anything that's similar to like electroplating of materials with this to like
without like a power source? No, that the type of like permanent electroplating probably doesn't exist. Now, I mean, it might be possible to jury rig something, but
I'm not talking about like so basically he was thinking it would be useful as a shield because that would be very light, and most primitive shields are effectively dead weight. They're useless against anything other than super common like TL2 projectiles.
Sure, but this is like a stronger than steel, so perhaps at least protecting from TL3 or lower would be an improvement. I think that yeah, like they could definitely make something like that. It is like a stronger than steel material, right? So it is significant, and you could probably get it done. But I think that they're gonna have to like mull it over. Like you get their contact information.
Cool.
One of them is probably like Lucas. His name is probably Lucas. He's your primary contact. And Lucas says, he's like, we've never done anything like that. He's like, but I've heard of some things. I can do some research. I can reach out to some contacts. It's going to take me a little bit though to get the plans kind of nailed down, and we might have to go back and forth. And he says like how much material do you have? And like you have like a box of it basically.
Yeah.
You have one load of it. Like that's
we have for that purpose. I think we have a pretty considerable amount. Like we might even have. So I tell him, Oscar says we have, however many square feet or like cubic meters of this stuff. I think would be a better way to
it's
describe
totally
it to
cubic
him.
meters.
So I say we have effectively a boatload of this for this project.
He says he's like it's probably gonna take a few iterations to get it just right. The breaking point of Red 5 is really strange. Like he goes into some technical details of like Red 5 and like why it's really good for large pieces, but why it can be harder working like with more minute detail. It's why like weapons and stuff, or not weapons, why like hatches and stuff are still made out of like steel, where the actual larger bulkheads are made out of are made out of red 5, because it's just it has an odd property when it comes to breaking. But he says he's like, it's possible, you know, I can get it done, but it might take a few iterations, and it's gonna have to be in my off time because I gotta get money, and this won't pay up front.
Yeah. So Oscar says to him, you know, please, this is not a rush job. Take your time. It's a curiosity of mine, and I happen to come into the material. So
yeah,
keep in touch.
He nods, and like you guys shake or whatever, and you know, he goes back to work. The whistle rings, and they all go back to work. Cool. Anyone else do anything while you're on the station?
I thought
Sorry,
I had
couldn't-
an idea, but I
What's up?
don't remember what it was.
Okay.
Boomer actually needs to go out and do some shopping.
Okay. What's Boomer gonna go get?
Using his West Wind contacts. Did anything come out of me reaching out to my other contacts? Just kind of put the bug in a couple of people's ear. Hey, if this particular piece of merchandise crosses your backroom floor, could you let me know?
Missile launcher?
Yeah, for the rocket launcher.
I mean, yeah, you guys could totally get a like a rocket launcher. It wouldn't be like too much of a process. The process would primarily be like, where do we have to ship it to, and who's going to come pick it up, and, you know, do we have to pay someone for that in addition to the cost of the actual thing? And then it's
Can you
like,
guys afford this?
right? It's and then of course it's like, so, you know, where do you, you know, like another question probably comes into play, like, well, where's the weapon coming from? Like, is it, you know, are you importing it in from X planet that doesn't have rules? You know, that kind of like a more radarized planet or something.
Right. Like I said, I'm taking the long view on this. So the people I do trust and I know where they're located, it's like, look, if this comes across your desk, let me know. I'll make it worth your while, and we'll come pick it up. But,
Sure.
I mean, just let me know when it comes across your desk, kind of thing.
Right. I think that approximately by the time
It's
you
like
guys,
a waiting list. It's a
Yeah.
pre-order.
It's a pre-order, yeah.
basically by the time you guys have enough like to actually go out and get it, because like how much do you have combined now? Could you buy it like right now?
No.
No.
Right.
Could we trade a small job for it?
Define like barter, like go do a job for them to cut down on the cost?
Yes.
I mean, perhaps. It depends on what kind of contacts Boomer's reaching out to, and how you're going to complete that, and you know, you'd have to also convince the rest of the crew to go do that, right?
Quick sanity check. Recall what we were just talking about in terms of travel costs.
Yeah.
If we go off on our own to do
No,
a
if
small
it were
job-
like on planet.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if they ask us to do anything off world, the
Right.
travel
We
and
wouldn't
maintenance
do
costs
it. Yeah,
alone
no, we wouldn't do it.
might
I figured if it
cost
was
more
something
than
local, if
the
it was a
guard.
local guy, we could go do something quick for him, and maybe
Yeah.
he would reduce the price, that sort of thing.
Sure.
I think that unfortunately Boomer's contacts would be able to take care of anything local that they had to deal with. Like, it's on Sorn, it's like completely monopolized by Westwind. Like, the government, like, they have a seat on the government of the planet. Like, nobody really messes around on Sorn. It's a pretty lawful place. Which actually probably means that you're not going to be able to get one like right off the bat. Like, you'll have to go through a waiting process, and you'll have to do a background check, and you'll have to, like, there's a whole procedure that'll probably take like a couple of weeks before you'd actually get approved to actually buy it. So like, potentially, like, you start doing all that now, and then you go do another mission, and you come back, it might be ready for you. Like, that's totally something you could do. Like, set in.
I was actually thinking of using my contacts over at, like, Haldus
right.
or
Yeah.
Thune.
So that's the other thing, right? Like, if you have contacts on different planets that you can reasonably accept, then you could totally get it from somewhere else, and just pick it up when you're in the area or something.
Right. That's kind of what I'm going for.
Yeah, but also means like a trip out and like going to do something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm charismatic enough. I could wrap that up into whatever we're doing currently for Westwind at that time. But again, I'm playing the long game here. I just, hey, let me know when this crosses your desk, kind of thing.
I like it. All right.
But actually, on that note, I am going to reach out to. Do we have a Westwind quartermaster?
You have Giorgio. See,
okay,
the deal is you guys don't deal with a whole lot of, and that's the other thing. There's not really a quartermaster for you guys. You're contracted help, right? If you need to requisition anything from Westwind, you go through your handler, and then your handler will determine whether or not you need it for the mission or missions. But obtaining personal gear from Westwind is not typically something that occurs.
All right. In that case, then I'm going to a technology distributor, much like Best Buy or something.
Yep.
And that I trust that's actually on this planet.
Yeah, you would know one that you trust on this planet.
Okay, I definitely need to procure a compad and a hollow unit.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. That's no problem. You can just buy them.
Okay. After that, there's going to be a side trip over to the shipyards and purchasing a astronautics toolkit.
No problem finding one of those.
And that's the majority of my shopping that I need to get done. Now it's just a lot of sit down and work.
Yep, cool. You're also, because you're I'm assuming you're going for your project here, you will most likely need to buy some scrap material as well. Just simply to have said scrap material on hand so that you can actually fashion pieces and do stuff. Also, like I said, you'll probably need to utilize a workshop for the final completion at least. Building individual components is one thing, just doing it with a wrench and toolkits, but actually machining stuff is going to require a workshop.
Okay, that's not a problem. How much credits do you think in raw material?
Let me see. There is actually a raw material chart. If I can find the supplement. There it is. I believe it's in the Sons of Gold supplement. Actually has a price point for raw material. Let's see here.
Because I'm looking at the spare parts at tech level 4 is 60.
Yeah, that's for a single piece. Is that that's on the list that I made. I don't know why I'm looking at supplements. I made a goddamn spreadsheet about this shit. I should definitely
see, even you forgot about the spreadsheet.
Yeah. So I think that if it's 60, it'd probably take you 2 because you're connecting 3 things together.
4 or 5.
4 or 5. Yeah. So actually, it would take you however many it would take to interconnect and machine a piece to attach it. Basically, you have your solid piece, and then you need a piece to machine, a spare part to machine every single one of those pieces together, right? So 4, so it's another 240 credits worth would probably be a good bet.
All right, go ahead and talk to Devin for a minute. I need to do some math in my head.
Okay, Devin, what are you doing?
I would like to reach out to the Claris group and see if they have any work in the area where
actually,
we are.
I think you have a message from them in your inbox. Probably when you arrive in system, because I know you're stationed here.
Correct.
Yeah.
Message says.
Yeah, so it's from what is your how? So I'm asking you because I like to get your guys' input on how this is fleshed out so that we can then put it in the notes for the planets and the factions and stuff. So so how does the Claris group work? Do they do you have a contact, or is it you get instructions from is it highly militarized, or is it very cell organized where it's you have a person that tells you what your job is and then you don't really see anything higher than that, or you actually have a physical chain of command that goes all the way up?
There is a chain of command.
Okay.
Yes.
So for you, you're kind of on the outside, I think we determined kind of a spec ops type character, right? So
yeah.
So for you, like, how does it work when you receive a mission? Like, is first of all, is there like, if it's an important thing, is there like a Claris group encryption or something like that, or a cipher, or is it kind of just like, hey, your mission is this, like we need someone to take a look at this?
It's usually like if it's something that's specifically for me, they say, hey, we've got something, give me a call or get a hold of me, and then
Sure. Yeah, so,
and then I'll have to physically talk to them so they know that no one else is getting that message.
Sure, and that is something that is hard, because in this system, I don't know if I actually explained this, but in this system, the only way that you can have messages that travel between solar systems is if they're piggybacked on a ship.
Okay.
So the only time that so that means when you send a message, it takes between 3 and 7 days to traverse one section, right?
Yeah.
Unless it gets piggybacked on a ship that's going 2 jumps. So it takes a while for messages to send. So it would make, and I'm just saying this, it would make a little more sense if they like had a cipher or something.
Okay.
That was really vague, or if it was like a personal code where maybe there's maybe this is how it works. Maybe there's a contact, like maybe a contact comes with a message, like to physically deliver the verbal message. And you just receive a ciphered message, like with a meeting time or something.
Yeah.
How about that? That would make more sense, because then they can just like be on passenger liners, like kind of incognito, and go between different places, right? And then when they arrive in the system they're supposed to meet you. They send said message. Here's the cipher code for where you're supposed to meet me, and then you go meet them in whatever location they tell you to. That would make more sense.
Yeah, that works. I like that.
Cool. Yeah, so I think you get that cipher message, and one of the cantinas on the station, you're instructed to go to, like, back room number 2 to meet with a contact in reference to a Claris group mission.
Okay. I go to said cantina, do back room number 2.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. 6. Yeah, cool. So I think that when you enter, there is what we as Earthlings would assume is a very dark-skinned African American man who's sitting in the booth, like there, and he doesn't have any like visible weapons on him, but like at a glance you can obviously understand that he's a Claris group messenger. Like there's no doubt. And when you enter, he gives you like a challenge and return phrase, he probably says something like, so what's I'm gonna ask you again, Devin. What's the Claris group like motto, right? Like what do they say?
Hold on. They go like it's probably like always loyal, and then the other person says unless we get more or something like that. Something.
Yeah. So yeah, he gives you the like challenge and return phrase, so you know that you're like there, and you sit down in the booth, and he actually takes out like a document package, like it's not like a digital copy of anything, it's like a document package, and he slides it across the table. So you pick it up and
with this stuff, huh?
What? Say it again.
I said going old school with this stuff, huh?
Yeah. So he kind of looks, and he doesn't say a word. He just nods at it, like inquiring for you to pick it up and look at it.
Take a look.
Sure. So you open it up. You do you unwind the little thing around the hook, and you open it up, and you pull the papers out.
Okay.
And you see there's a picture attached to like a document. And it's very like kind of grainy. It's clearly taken from like a Tech Level 3 camera footage. Tech Level 3 being like what we have at Earth today.
Correct.
It's like a Tech Level 3 camera footage, and it's this guy, and he's wearing like sunglasses. He's clearly like we would identify him as like an Eastern European like look to him. He's got like blonde hair that's kind of a little bit long. It's pulled back in kind of like a ponytail. He's got sunglasses on, and he's wearing like a hat that's like a wide brimmed kind of almost bowler hat that's kind of hiding his face. And And the guy says, he goes, "That is target, yes?"
Sure. Who is he? Well, I guess I'd read through the
Right.
thing.
So
I
you
know
like
who
you
he
like
is.
okay. So you flip over and you see that his name is Victor. What is his last name? Let's generate a last name here. Solovsky. Victor Solovsky. And Victor Solovsky, it's identified in here that he is a member of the Kuchera Syndicate. Okay? The Kuchera Syndicate is the largest syndicate that exists of pirates and assassins in the sector. And yeah, so typically how these things work when you're out to do them is you will not be the only one given this mission, right?
Yeah.
There will be like maybe 4 or 5 Spec Ops people that are given this this mission, and as is the Claris Group way, you guys don't compete against each other. Like you're non-aggressive towards each other, but if you want to like join up and work together, you'll have to figure out who each other is, because again, it's kind of cell. You're mercenaries, right? You don't fight each other specifically, but you also don't necessarily work together because whoever completes the mission gets paid, right? Like that's how it works. But they send 4 or 5 because it's more efficient and it's also a much cleaner like ability to do. And you see in like the description, because you've received like a hit before, right? It actually says alive if possible, dead if not, is like in the description of like what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
And then it says last seen planet Paphos, Nafiasa system, which you know is 606.
Okay.
And the guy looks at you, and he says he like pulls out like a cigar. Well, it's like a EHO cigar, right? It's like electronic, but it blows real smoke because it's space. It's science fiction, and that's what we can do. So yeah, he takes a big puff off of the cigar, and he like pretends to like ash it out or whatever, and he goes, "You have time?"
Maybe.
He kind of like he nods, and he's like, "West wind good?
Not bad.
Pay good?"
Not as good as it used to be.
He nods. He kind of like smiles, and he goes, "Still work direct, much better. Although more dangerous."
Well, if you're not good, it's dangerous.
Yeah, he nods, and he's like, "Been in game long time. I know."
I love your accent for this guy's awesome. I say, man, that's not too far away, but it's not close. It's not hard. All right.
So you also know that when you guys get missions from Westwind, typically like there may be a couple that you might be able to choose a generalized direction, right? So like you could be like, "Hey, this one kind of goes in that direction. Maybe we should go check it out." You know. Yeah. That's something that you as a player would have to convince the party to do, right?
Yeah.
Cool. And I think that like you guys sit there maybe in silence for another few minutes while you're like reading over the paperwork. And the guy stands up. He goes, "Well, I go. Burn when done."
Understood. I'll let you know when it's completed.
He kind of like you're saying that like as he's stepping out of the booth, and he like pulls the curtain back, and he goes, "We will know," and just like leaves.
All right. So I finished reading over the paperwork there, and then
you've memorized.
I'll probably just burn it. Just burn it right on the table there.
Yeah, it's given you so you know that he is kind of like a low level local representative of the Kuchera Syndicate. He's not high ranking at all. He's probably like if we could compare it to something like that we know today, like he's probably like street level drug lord, right? Like he's not cartel. He's basically like he's probably got like a couple corners. But since they're in the Pirates and Assassins, like maybe he controls like a city, like right, like in on that planet, right? Like that's where he pirates and does most of his contracts, right? He's not anywhere greater than that.
Okay.
Even to the point where like Kuchera probably wouldn't even notice if he went away, right? Because they're also huge, like they're a big part of the sector. So unless he was like somehow directly related to somebody, it wouldn't really matter. They'd be like, oh well, he got himself killed. Oh well, like somebody paid to kill him and he wasn't strong enough to survive, so we're just gonna put somebody else in his place. Like that's so like risk wise, the only risk you would have would be initial risk. Right. Yeah. Like him and his people directly, like it's not going to and I think the data like shows that as well. It's like, hey, listen, he's a low level lieutenant, no direct ties to anyone higher up in the syndicate, nobody's gonna miss him, and so, this is a pretty safe job as long as you can get the job done. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Alright. Yeah. Well, I guess the only question I would have asked, well, which would probably be in the paperwork, is where I'm supposed to take him if I get him alive.
Yeah.
Or what I'm supposed to find out if I get him alive.
Right. So it says that if captured alive, you're supposed to take him to I think the name is Kakachan. Kakachan is a city on Paphos.
Okay.
And you're supposed to, if you capture him alive, meet with the client, right? Like the client will meet you at Kakachan if you collect him alive. If not, you're supposed to also go there to deliver proof of the job completion. Yeah. So the client can then forward the funds, and then you get your cut. Claris takes their cut, and everybody has a nice day.
All right.
Cool.
I have no idea how to spell Kakachan, so I guessed.
That's fine. Neither do I. I made it up. Made it up on the spot.
Awesome.
So, cool. Awesome. Do you guys want to take like a